Hey everybody, what's going on? Today I'm going to be bringing you a list of my favorite superhero video games that I've played. Now this isn't like a top 10 list. These aren't in any particular order. They're spread out across a couple of systems. I think you'll see a theme with them though. I'm going to start off with a GameCube game. The first GameCube game that I ever got was a Batman game, and I don't even remember what it was called, but that one was, it was okay. Like, it was an okay game. But one of my favorite games for the GameCube, superhero-wise, was Spider-Man the movie, the game. I miss GameCube, to be honest with you. Side note, I really wish it would have lasted longer so I could have gotten a Day of Reckoning 3 or some other comic book movie games, but Spider-Man the movie, the game, had really awesome gameplay mechanics. Had the voice cast from the movie, at least most of them. I know Tobey Maguire, I think James Franco lent his voice, and of course you got Bruce Campbell as like the trainer narrator guy, so that was pretty awesome. The coolest thing about this game was it wasn't a shot-for-shot remake of like the movie. They didn't put the entire movie into the game. It felt like you were just playing the movie. They added some other elements to it, some other villains, things like that. But it was a really fun game. Had a couple of different costumes you can get. I think my favorite part about it was I can't remember if it was a code or you got it for beating something in the game, but you could play as Harry Osborn as the Goblin. So you would have the glider, and when you were off the glider, you could run super fast, and there'd be like a trail of flames. A trail of flames is what I'm trying to say. A trail of flames behind you. But anyway, so that's one of them. The next one I got was another movie game, but it was completely, to me at least, it was completely different from the movie. We all know how a lot of people feel about this movie, but that was X-Men Origins Wolverine for the Xbox 360. I think they had it on PlayStation as well. That game is just super fun. I mean, that is an R-rated Wolverine game. That's how I really wanted all of his movies to be, honestly, was how this game was. You had these rage attack moves. When you hit somebody with adamantium claws, they didn't just fall down, you cut them up. There was decapitations, there was just losing limbs. It was a really fun time. Plus, it had this regeneration thing, and there's another game on my list that I'll talk about the regeneration thing. It was just a super fun game. If you get a chance, I think it's like $10 now. You could probably even find it for cheaper, but give it a shot. You could hate the movie, but give this game a shot because it's really awesome. Next one I got on my list is kind of a wide breadth, I hope that's the right word, of games. They're all the Arkham games. I have loved and played every single Arkham game. I want to say that most of them were for the 360, and then Arkham Knight was an Xbox One game, I believe. I believe that's what it was. The gameplay mechanics of this game, they're amazing. Really like the fighting. You know, it's a basic button masher when it comes to the fighting, because I think it's one button. I think it's X or B. It's one of the two. But it's just they're just really fun games, and you know, you could say what you want about Batman. Batman's still an awesome character. Yes, he gets overused really a lot, but the games, no question, the games are some of the best games out there. Now, how I was talking about the regeneration in the Wolverine game, my next game was Deadpool. Deadpool is one of those characters, I've loved him since he first came out, even before he broke the fourth wall and things like that. I know, again, he's one of those characters that now that he's everywhere in the mainstream, people get tired of him. I will never get tired of him. Before I even bought this game, I literally watched all the cutscenes. You know how people upload all the cutscenes as like a movie? I watched that thing 3 times before I played the game, and I still loved it. I still laughed at the same jokes I heard 15 times. It's a basic hack slash game. The regeneration stuff in it is so cool because when you get messed up, your suit gets messed up. The suit regenerates with you, though. But if I'm not mistaken, you get messed up in that and it would go to a cutscene, you would still look messed up. It wouldn't be like in some games when you're holding a certain weapon and then it hits a cutscene, you're holding the original weapon. I think Gears of War does that a lot, where you could be holding a shotgun, but it switches to the Lancer all the time. The Deadpool game was super fun. I want to say the company was High Moon. It could be High Noon. I think it's High Moon, and that's how I'm going to refer to them. If I'm wrong, sorry. Blast me in the comments if you want to. But it's really sad that we never got a sequel. We never got any DLC because as soon as they put the game out, the company just went under. But it's a super fun game, and I have a very wishful idea at the end, near the end of the video, that I'll bring up after I'm done with my list here. So the next one I got is a game that I wish it was backwards compatible for the Xbox One, because I will hook up my Xbox 360 just to play it, and that's Justice League Heroes for the original Xbox. I love this game. There are so many characters you can play with. All of them have different abilities. They have this cool kind of skill tree thing where you pick up these different orbs. There's like a power, a speed, a couple of other ones. I can't remember the name of them right now, but you can actually put these orbs together and make, like, say you got 2 speed and 5 power, you would turn it into like a 6 power or 6 speed, and you could just combine all these orbs and put them in the slots of your moves that you use. My favorite character to play in that game was the Flash. He had 2 moves I really loved. He had one where he just turned into a tornado. That one was awesome. And then he had one where he's basically a pinball. And the higher you got that one leveled, the more enemies you could hit. And Flash was my favorite character in that game. But they had a lot of good characters. Next one I have is The Amazing Spider-Man for the 360. This game, I haven't got to play the PlayStation Spider-Man game, which I hear is awesome, but this game, as much as I love the GameCube game, this game stepped it up. One of my favorite things to do it was just an open world, and I would just swing around and you would collect comic book pages, and when you completed a certain set, it would unlock that comic. I really love when superhero games do things like that. Really love it. Gameplay mechanics, awesome. Swinging. One of the coolest things was you could use this kind of vision, and you can hop from point to point. It's one of those games that if you've never played it, please give it a shot. Amazing Spider-Man, Xbox 360, it's awesome. So, that's going to do it for my regular list. Going back to the Deadpool game, now of course we've got the Ryan Reynolds, soon to be hopefully, trilogy of Deadpool movies. I really wish that they would make a Deadpool movie the game. I know a lot of people are like, why would you want to play a game based off the movie? But just like the Spider-Man, the movie, the game, they could put a lot of stuff into it that wasn't in the movie. I believe that if they really wanted to do this game, have Ryan Reynolds, have your whole cast voice their characters. They could use one of, it's probably not the original, but I've read an old script before they even released the movie, because I'm that much of a nerd for Deadpool. I found one of the scripts that Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, I hope I said that right, they wrote. And there's a lot of stuff in there that got left out of that movie. About 70% made it into the movie, but there was no angel dust in the original scene. In the original script, she was actually 3 characters that were combined. They had a guy named Sluggo, who was kind of like just this big, massive, hulking, Hulk-like character, I guess you could say. They had a character named Wire that had these wires come out of his fingertips, like techno-organic kind of stuff. Then they had a guy named Garrison Kane who had I guess he could switch his appendages because he could turn it into a flamethrower. His arms, sorry, turn his arm into a flamethrower, rocket launcher, stuff like that. And the original concept was Ajax was actually had a full head of hair, and he was in prison. And I think he was in prison for like 5 years. So this is the countdown Deadpool's waiting for. So while Deadpool is becoming Deadpool, there's Garrison Kane, Wire and Sluggo, and Ajax form like their own mercenary group, and they go around taking out other mercenary groups. So the big battle that happened at the end of Deadpool, that the gag with that was he left his duffel bag. Well, that's also because the movie got slashed about another 20 million, so they couldn't shoot the final fight scene with that, so they did what they did, which was still great. I love the movie. But in this, he actually gets to use all these weapons that Weasel brings him, and he's fighting raid style up a building that Ajax now owns, where they're running their merc business out of. He fights up this building, and I mean, just reading it, I would have loved to see it, loved to have seen it, but for what they did. But again, that would be an amazing premise for them to put in a Deadpool the movie, the game. I miss those, you know. I never played the Captain America or the Thor one that came out, but usually when movies have video games attached to them, I really enjoy them, and I think Deadpool is a perfect example. I would love for them to just take what High Moon did and just add on to it, you know, because the gameplay mechanics to me were fine. It was just basic, like I said, hack slash. The power-ups are cool. He went around grabbing tacos for energy and stuff like that. Like, it was funny. But you know, they have a whole script that they could probably split into a couple of games. This is the only one of the only scripts I've read. I found the newer one where they had Angel and stuff like that in there. But for this, like I said, just a hopeful, wishful thinking kind of thing. For this, I would hope that they could go back and use that original script. But anyway, that's going to end my video, my favorites list here. What are some of your favorite comic book video games that you've ever played? I know I've probably left a ton off this list. I've never really played the Marvel Ultimate Alliances or Marvel vs. Capcom games. So, you know, if you like that, you know, tell me a little bit about it down there in the comments. Well, that's going to be it for me. Later, tots.